welcome to the Screen Podcast, offering you insight and analysis of the global film industry, brought to you by Screen International and ScreenDaily.com. I'm your host, Wendy Mitchell. I'm a contributing editor at Screen. And as you might expect, Cannes is something I'm obsessed with, and a lot of people in the film world and film industry are either obsessed with it, they love it, they hate it, they want to go, or they don't want to go, or it's a big talking point in our industry. And one thing I've always found fascinating in Cannes is it's a different festival for each person who goes. You know, some critics are there watching 4 films a day and then writing all night, and then you have publicists who never get to see a film, or some sellers who are just in meetings never seeing films. So I thought it would be fun to talk to 3 Cannes stalwarts who I see every year in Cannes about how they navigate the festival, what they love or hate about it, and maybe there'll be some tips for people who are going for the first time or just want to know how to do Cannes better. So our guests are Clare Binns, who is creative director of Picturehouse Cinemas and Picturehouse Entertainment in the UK. She's bought many great films in Cannes. Then we have Susan Wendt, managing director at TrustNordisk, the great international sales company headquartered in Copenhagen. She's sold wonderful films in Cannes and had to be there when Lars von Trier misspeaks, no less. And then finally we have Frederic Boyer, who is a longtime curator and programmer. He works for Tribeca and Les Arcs. And he is also a Cannes insider because he used to head Directors Fortnight. And Frederic can also give us the French perspective on Cannes because he's been going for many years. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Wendy.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes.
So, as I mentioned, each of your days is going to look very different given your roles. And I usually find it quite weird or boring to ask people, what do you do day by day? But I think in Cannes, it's very different. So let's talk about a typical, even though every day is atypical in Cannes. But let's start with you, Clare. Like, does a day look like for you in Cannes? Is it meetings? Is it screenings? You know, I don't see you, out at 4 a.m. at the Petty Majestic because you're a busy lady. But what does your day look like in Cannes?
Well, I have to say the Petty Majestic did figure very large in my life up until about 15, 20 years ago. And then I realised as I got older, I had to pace myself a bit more seriously.
I hear you.
So I have to decide. I think the one big thing I've learned about Cannes is not falling asleep in screenings. It's very important. If you're going to be buying films, you need to be alert and awake. So that's my top priority. So my day is usually about a very early meeting and taking on board all the buzz, what people have said, who you've met, conversations that have taken place. You pretty much have a schedule worked out weeks beforehand, but that always changes. So you will start the day thinking you're going to these 5 screenings, but in fact it's all changed around and you have to go to those screenings instead. So, and then it's like, is there a meeting? Is there a lunch? Is there someone you need to make contact with? So each day is very varied, but at the heart of it all, it's seeing movies and it's making judgments and it's talking to people. Talk. And the screenings can go on till 11 o'clock at night. You might actually end up having another meeting at the end of the night if you have seen something or something needs to be sorted out. So there's at least one big meeting between all the acquisitions team, and then there could be another one later on, but it is at the heart of it, it's seeing films.
Yeah. Clare, you're also a swimmer. When do you fit in a swim, or does that kind of wait till later in the festival?
That waits till later in the festival, but I hope after the first weekend is over, that's when I can start planning swims. And to be honest with you, even 10 minutes thrashing about in the water is better than not having a swim, because it just clears your brain through all the sort of can madness that I think everybody knows about.
Yes, thank you, Claire. That was really good. And I love that you already mentioned that sort of almost you have to stay a little bit flexible, because films will come out of nowhere that you weren't planning on seeing. And you kind of feel like, oh, I've got to see that. I mean, I'm not a buyer, but oh, we need to be in the conversation about that. Or, oh, I need to make a bid on that film, so I've got to fit in a meeting with this seller. And I think that's a great tip for anybody, is to try to keep a little flexibility.
You've got to go with what is going on day by day, and you cannot be rigid with that at all.
Yeah. So, Susan, your days are very different to Claire's, which is I knew I wanted a buyer and a seller on here.
Yeah.
So, Susan, tell us what some of your days might look like.
I mean, for me, the morning is really, really important. First of all, because before you're out meeting everyone, we are staying in apartments. We are staying the whole team together in different apartments, but the same building. And for me, I am a morning person, so I get up early to shower and stuff like that. Not going to the beach. I'm too lazy to go to the sea. But then, because I'm up early anyway, and the others might be tired, I love cooking breakfast for everyone. So I'm starting my...
I'm around your place then. Tell me when and I'll be there.
Doing omelette for everyone, and then we sit down and go through the day before all the meetings start. So basically, since everything, our office and apartment and everything is in the same building, very close to the Palais, so we can watch out the window and looking at the Palais, but we don't get out of the apartment that much. So sometimes I don't even know or care if it's raining or sunny outside. It's not quite true, but a little bit. So every day is like, after the internal meeting, it's like meetings with buyers from all over the world, half-hour meetings, 15-minute meetings until late evening, lunch, half an hour for a salad, and then dinners and drinks meetings afterwards as well. Then I'm doing the opposite. So when we go past the first week, I try to see if I can catch some of the morning screenings. So hoping for some of the morning screenings being over in the Lumiere or over there are some of the good ones. And sometimes it's not even like, okay, I want to see this film. Yes, I will. But I also say, okay, I have this slot that I've now booked in the morning, because you can squeeze the meeting to maybe start half an hour later and then watch some films in the morning, because it's too sad to be there without watching any films.
Any films, yeah.
To do some of the catch-up screenings towards the end of the festival as well.
Yeah. And so on one of those days, are you doing, you might have 10 or 12 meetings with buyers or more? Yeah, at least. And almost all of those, but correct me if I'm wrong, because I have to sometimes get a slot with your colleague Nikolai, and it reminds me, I better book that now. You don't really take walk-ins. These are people that you have booked in advance, these meetings. Yeah. Because I think sometimes people think, oh, I want to get a seller for my film. I'll show up in Cannes and go to their office and talk to them. No, you can't really do that in Cannes. No. Not have a meeting.
Exactly. And I mean, that's the thing about Cannes. I mean, the people who are in the Palais, of course, everyone can walk by. But because Cannes is so spread out all over, which is also why I feel sad sometimes for Claire, because, I mean, for the meetings, you have to run back and forth, and I mean, then you have people on the quartet, then you have people a bit outside of Cannes, so there's a lot of running, and you have to run past all the tourists in the street as well, of course.
Yes. Yeah, that's one thing I've learned, and this is maybe a tip we'll come on to, is I mean, last year, I think I was, having a meeting with Nikolai at your office, and then my next meeting was down by, like, the Miramar, and it was like, That's a good 20-minute walk or 30-minute walk if people are blocking the street.
You walk too slow, Wendy.
No, other people do, Claire.
No, you just barge into them. Just get the bath like
See,
that.
this is why I'm not a buyer. Yeah.
Or as some buyers do have, like, for those, I mean, it's a combination because with you, Claire, in the team, there's some focusing on the meetings, some focusing on screenings, and then sometimes you have to do both when you start negotiating. But for those who do the meetings, I know many have also now in Cannes rented bikes to go, from one place to another, which I think is very smart since the quartet is anyway, not with that many cars. There's at least a small side part where you can run on your bike. Or, go on your bike.
I'm not coordinated enough to bike, but that is a good tip. Mr. Boyer, what does a day in Cannes look like for you now? Because you're a programmer and you're just a cinephile who wants to devour all these films, but you also need to do meetings. And what's your day like?
I'm trying to not have any meeting in the morning. I really enjoy the best moment in Cannes. It's the morning. And my condo is next to Marché Fortville. So when you can see the fruits, you can buy fruit. It's really nice neighborhood, I think. So I'm always going to the 8:30 screenings, sometime at the Quinzaine at 9.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometime at Critics Week, but most of the time at the Palais. And 10:30, sometime noon. And meetings in the afternoon, let's say between 2 and 5, and then go back and maybe watching another film because I'm not going to dinner. I mean, I like dinner 1-to-1, but I really don't like 10 people asking, sharing the bill. It's like so boring. The food is not extraordinary. It's expensive. And the conversations are very empty. So I think, but the best, we are lucky because we have a small terrace next to Fortville, very small. Then you can come back to the apartment and to do pasta, just nicely. You bring a friend and you do just food for us. And that's nice. But for me, it's watching the press industry screening in the morning while you are going.
Yeah. Well, Frederic, my flat is on the Rue Menardier, just near the Fortville, so I'll be over for pasta. We'll figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said this because I stopped doing big dinners. First of all, I don't have to really go to any dinners. And maybe I'll just quickly run through my day because I'm certainly not a typical of anybody, I don't think, because my colleagues at Screen, the journalists, there'll be people in the office editing those print dailies every day, which is a beast to do. I have done that. You're sat at a desk for 12 hours a day. I am very thankful that's not me anymore, and I wish them good luck. I'm not even running around looking for news on the ground anymore. So that's what my colleagues at Screen are doing. But every morning I have to miss the 8:30 screenings, which makes me sad. But I moderate at the Producers Network at the Marché every morning. We've had guests like Claire before. And it's a wonderful way to start the day because I get to talk to amazing experts in a sort of roundtable setting with these producers from all around the world sharing their experience. And I think that helps put me in the mindset of how global Cannes really is. And I love that. And then I'll have meetings. I do a lot of moderating in Cannes. And I actually feel like I've stopped going to dinners partly because the night screenings are when I get to see films. And I hate going to Cannes and feeling like people are talking about the best films of the year and I haven't seen them. So I will skip dinners. Also, because I'm a freelancer, like Frederic, I feel the pain you said of like these dinners that you go to, you think might be 3 people, like your 3 friends, and then they've each bought a friend of a friend, and you're sat next to people you don't even know or like, and that you don't want to talk to them, and suddenly you're paying for somebody's very expensive bottle of wine. And that's one of my top tips is like, I go to dinner at the end with real friends. So
you've never invited me, Wendy. Clearly, I'm not one of your real friends.
You're too busy, you people. But just to reiterate, everybody's got their own approach to Cannes, and some people go and all they do is go to dinners, and that's fine. They have a different life than me. So, just building on from that, has there been any sort of thing that you've learned over the year? I mean, Claire, you mentioned you don't stay up all night at the Petty Majestic, and I used to do that when I had the stamina. I might do some swims, rather than I might make a meeting during a swim. I've done that before. Somebody you want to see, but instead of seeing them for a drink at midnight, you see them for a swim. What are some of the things like that you've learned over the years of just how you schedule things, or who you like to spend time with or who you don't? Does anybody have a tip? Claire?
Well, I would say the first thing I learned a few years ago was to have en suite and not to have to share a bathroom, which for many years, you all mucked in together. It was all, you slept on floors, you slept in bedrooms with 6 people, etc., etc. I think for me, having a bit of space for myself to gather my thoughts, to have a moment where I wasn't on, I think that's what the swim is. That's what all those things are. A coffee with a friend, because it is so intense. It's about finding a little bit of space to be able to just gather your thoughts. And en suite and not sharing a bathroom was a game changer for me. And that was, but for years I didn't.
Yeah. I'm an only child. I have to have, and I pay for myself to go to Cannes, so it's really stupid, but I have my own studio flat because I am so on when I'm moderating all day and things that I just need to not be around people for a little bit. Susan, you're living with your colleagues.
Yes, but same way as Claire. I mean, in the early days, it was like, let's face it, Cannes is crazy expensive. It's really hard to find the nice apartments.
Yeah.
And so in the first years, we were changing every time. It was like, apartments with windows facing the Petit Majestic. So there was like noise, thin windows, no air condition. And we were sharing the rooms 2 and 2, and 4 people sharing a bathroom or whatsoever, maybe 6. So nowadays we have each our bedrooms, each our bathroom, and then we have some common living space. So definitely it is needed. It's also needed to be fresh and to be able to clear your head.
Function.
To clear your head. But the nice thing is as well that having like the common space, you can sit there. So also in terms of like having drinks with people or something, I really prefer to invite them up and sit in the living room there where it's nice and quiet, instead of Cafe Roma where you can't hear anything and everybody is shouting and walking around. So really using the space. And I think we've been, I don't know, maybe 8 years in the apartments that we have now. I can't quite remember, but it was a game changer being there and coming back to the same place every time. Knock on woods is really like fantastic, with like proper windows that keep the sound almost out. Nothing can be kept out totally, but I think that's really, really, an important factor. And also taking the time, even though you're busy, to have this spontaneous coffee or drink with people that you haven't seen and who might have changing from one side of the business to another or whatever it is. But this is a people's business, and we've known each other for so many years, and there's so many nice faces out there. And it's so important also to take the time for that kind of, meeting with people that you've seen, sitting down quietly for like, if it's only 10 minutes, that's also fun.
Yeah. It really recharges you. And you said, it is a business of people. And I think some of my worst Cannes are when I have my meetings booked in every half hour And if one is 5 minutes late, then the whole day's a rush. I don't even
Yeah.
have time to wave to Clare Binns when I pass her on the street. And you just feel like, oh my gosh, I'm cranky. So I would also suggest building in little 10-minute buffers,
Mhm.
or if you're walking, to make time to stop and talk to people. And that's a lesson I'm still learning. Frederic, you know everybody in Cannes. How do you...
No, I know you. No, but
Yes, you do. You're
See,
French. You know the whole French industry, the whole international
oh, no, no,
industry.
no. But I think for us, I mean, for people who are watching 2 film or 3 film in the morning, I think there's the ticket thing, because
Oh, yeah.
you have to wake up in time, and at 7 you have to be online just to otherwise you don't know if you're gonna get the ticket. So you have to do it every morning and then in the afternoon, which is fine, but it's a part of the morning.
Frederic, I'm curious, I don't think you're not sort of so obvious that you would do a meeting at the Cafe Roma, which for a long time is my spot because it's so convenient.
Yeah.
But I've even learned now, say a place that's 5 doors down from Cafe Roma that nobody knows the name of, and you can get your Diet Coke a little bit quicker. Frederic, where do you do meetings or dinners? You're probably not going to tell us your secret spots, but you know.
No, I know. We are going to when we are going with friends. First, we are trying to find inexpensive places, because you can find expensive food, but it's really, I mean, we cannot go every day. We try to find some places which are more or less organic with good food. Vegetarian, I much prefer, and fish I prefer. But but then you have also people who are asking a meeting. You don't know why, and you say yes, and you understand they just finish a short, and you don't know why. You know, it's really difficult also to refuse meeting for people who are insisting.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. This leads me perfectly to my next question is, who do you say yes to a meeting? Who do you say no to? Because I've already started getting people who live in London saying, oh, let's have a meeting in Cannes. Like, no,
Yes. Yeah.
I've got international people to see. I mean, yes, I love you. And if I see you every week, I don't need to see you in Cannes. Although Claire and I have an appointment for a swim, I hope. But what do you say yes to for a meeting in Cannes? Who do you say no to? I mean, Susan, for you, it's
Yeah.
probably, you have a limited number of slots, and
Yeah.
you fill those mostly with buyers, I assume.
I'm curious
Yeah.
about Susan's
Yeah.
criteria.
Well, I mean, we are one of those companies that where we don't have a separate acquisition team to meet with producers as such, so we do that as well. So honestly, what I do there is I prefer not to have those meetings in Cannes, but I mean, if it's with Nordic producers, I am traveling around in all the Nordic countries, meeting them on a regular basis, meeting them in Gothenburg and in Haugesund and those kind of more local places. But there are also always some that you meet with, and we don't only work with Nordic producers as well. But first rule is that producers' meetings are towards the end. Then, of course, there is a problem that all the producers in Cannes, or most of them, they prefer to be there over the opening weekend and the first
Yeah.
week. And then you have like a kind of a dilemma. So it's really, really selective which producers I'm going to meet with. And sometimes it's just because, okay, I haven't met with those people. They just come back from wherever, have been disappearing, and then you try to do it. But else, it is definitely mainly with buyers and festivals.
Sorry, Claire, do you say no to people who live in London?
Pretty much. I mean, I would say there's the odd exception.
Yeah.
But they tend to be friends anyway. So it would be like a coffee because you're in this madness and you
Yeah.
both want a break. But I think this is an opportunity to meet people you don't normally in the same vicinity. So why would you be meeting people that, can 20 minutes from your office in London? It's pointless. But it's surprising the number of UK people that do want to meet in Cannes. I think get a life. Go and Go and explore.
Same with the Parisian. They all say, "Okay, let's meet in Cannes."
Yeah.
we will not. So
Yeah, Frederic, who do you decide? Because you probably get more meeting requests, and you can't, if you met with everybody, then you can't see films. Or if you met with all the people who
yeah,
ask,
but I
then
think
you
some.
can't find the people you need.
Yeah, but
So-
there is some which are important. Is all the institutions like the Austrian, Belgium, Flanders, and Wallon.
Yeah.
It's collaborators that are helping us. Germans too, and the Nordics. I'm always around the Nordics, of course. The Danish Film Institute. I mean, all these people, they are friends, and it's with them we are working. So, and
Yeah.
then the sales agents which are not in Paris, like Henway, Protagonist, Match Factory, Intramovie. I don't know, some sales and American sales also, but the sales agents which are in Paris, they are living next door. So for me, quite easy to have a cafe in Paris. It's much better for them too.
I like all this advice. You don't have to meet with everybody who asks. And one key thing I think people hopefully listening will be hearing is book your meetings in advance if you can. You know, you can't.
Yeah.
I think newcomers to Cannes sort of show up and think, oh, I'm going to, land some important meetings. But, Clare Binns has a busy dance card. You can't just show up and tap her on the shoulder. I mean, everybody in Cannes is a lot of time their schedules fill up in these weeks before Cannes.
I mean, we've got it all planned out for for 6-7 days completely. As I said, it all changes and moves around, but there is a plan in place.
Love every buyer will have this sort of Bible that some junior person on their team has printed. And it's like, here's the screening and here's, the running time and here's who you're seeing on this day. And they're beautiful pieces of art.
Yeah.
These Bibles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would also say, I mean, schedule ahead, but then also when things changes, not if they change, but when they change, make sure to let the person know that you are supposed to meet with, that we have to change it, hopefully up beforehand, so that you're not lost in like a crazy schedule where you're not able to book something in because you have a meeting and then people don't show up. So that's really like one of the important things as well for all of us. And that goes both for the sales and the buyers and for everyone, because we all know that sometimes there's like, we are also busy. And I think as well in terms of who to book meetings with. For me, I'm happy if, I'm totally fine if a buyer says, listen, we just met. I don't think, do we have anything
new to talk about? Yeah.
And I'm happy to say, no, really, all the stuff. And as long as you go and see and watch that, we don't need to work to meet on beforehand, because sometimes it's also like taking a meeting to be polite. Actually, it's much more polite to say no. if
agreed.
Yes.
I mean, for me, I much more appreciate to say, listen, I mean, I'll call you.
You don't want to waste your time listening to something that is never going to happen. The sales agent knows it's not going to happen. The buyer knows it's not going to happen. Just give us the stuff that we can actually work on together that may have an opportunity.
And now I'm going to talk about something even more frivolous, I think, which is parties. Because I think especially if you're new to Cannes, you might want to go to some parties. And there's still some, I wouldn't even say I go to the big parties, but I will go to the receptions. If it's a filmmaker I really like, if it was, an Andrea Arnold film, I went to that reception. I didn't stay late. If it's, I'll go to a Danish drinks or something like that, that's small and manageable and that I like. But like some of the big parties, first of all, I will tell people some of the big parties aren't that fun. Here's my breaking news, and here goes my
but Wendy, you've been going a long time. If you're going for the third year or the second year, I mean, we all know that the parties are not what the parties were.
Used to be.
They were a completely different beast. Fargo putting snow on a bloody roof and all that sort of stuff. But if you're starting out,
Any party can be
however
great.
crap the parties
Yeah.
actually are. You want to be there.
Yeah.
That's true. And let me say, I'm going to bring up an example that Hunger Games, which of course didn't screen in Cannes, but one of the Hunger Games films had a party in Cannes, and they sent out these invites in a box with a pin, and it looks so fancy. And then you get there, Jennifer Lawrence was probably there for 3 minutes. And it's all these sort of junior agents from LA at this party. It wasn't this big, fabulous. The drinks weren't that good. You think, oh, this is the most famous sounding party, but you could have better time at the Croatian audiovisual happy hour where you know people. I think it's just to say, keep an open mind about what party might be fun.
But I think for newcomers still, as Claire says, it's still exciting because it's a party and this person might be there. So just the excitement and the thought going that you might meet this and this person whatsoever. I think for newcomers, that is the excitement. And I mean, it was for us in the old days as well.
That's true. That's
and,
true.
Even though
I'm being old and cranky.
Were a bit more.
I think you are, Wendy.
I am. I don't like to go to those parties anymore. But you're right. It can be really exciting when you're first going to Cannes, or especially if you can get a group of your mates in, and you all. I mean, I remember a lot of us at Screen went to. God, I don't even remember which Tarantino film it was, but we went to the Tarantino party, and it was great fun because we were all together. Frederic, you've been going to Cannes since you were probably a teenager, right?
No,
early 20s.
Not a teenager.
Okay.
But is, I think, I mean, if I have one tip, I would say drink more water than rosé.
Yeah.
Very good tip. Very good tip.
If you want to sleep, I'm going to sleep before 1 Thursday because I wake up at 6. So, of course, I'm not drinking. And the parties in the villa starting at midnight, I'm not going. Maybe in the second part, I'm not going. But I'm like, as you, I'm celebrating filmmakers I admire, people I like. I'm celebrating the film with them.
Yeah.
It's always
it's lovely.
Yeah,
I will go to some parties, and I always go to the Nordic party where Frederic DJs.
I'm not the only DJ.
Not the lead DJ, but you're on the DJ team.
Yeah. But
okay. I love that one because it's people just letting loose and dancing, and it's the start of the second week. But if people want to go to parties and you don't really know, how do you crash parties? Anybody? How do you get on a list? Susan.
Susan, she's going to give you an invitation.
I mean, there is, people who come to Cannes, even though they're in the very beginning, they must know someone who knows someone. And the best way is to ask in a nice and polite way. And talking about the Nordic party, the one from Nordic Film Market, everyone comes to us and think it's our party, and they sometimes start shouting why we can't give them the invites. And especially in the old days where you had to come physically and pick up
with a paper invite. Yeah. Susan, you will love this. I had people yelling at me last year, like, get my friend into the Nordic party. I'm like, I do not run this party. I mean, I go to that party, but don't you start yelling at me.
Exactly.
You know.
So
politeness goes a long way.
The first word is really politeness, and then find out who is in charge of the party that you really want to go to. And maybe also find a reason for wanting to go to that party, because I think just coming, oh, I heard you had a party. Can we get in? Or a lot of companies, they have young trainees, mainly more of the American agents.
Yeah, Pavilion, like that, they always have people.
Where we get emails, oh, please, can I RSVP for these 10 people for all your receptions and parties, and please confirm where and when. And then, and that's in the polite way, but sometimes also I need to RSVP for those people. And I'm like, sorry, we don't have a party.
I don't think I've ever been to a party where I haven't had somebody with me who's not on the party list, but I have to get in. That seems to be, and then the anxiety, because you're responsible for that other person, is like, then you've got to work it. So you do get them in, and you do, but it's stressful.
Yeah.
It's stressful for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I've,
but there
run
is
guest lists. It's hard.
there is
Yeah.
also so many people that are going to parties. To go to the party, they don't even know the film. I remember
Yeah.
when I was younger, we were going only to party of the film we loved.
Yeah.
And then we arrived with our nice face, and they were asking nothing. Most of the time, if you are feeling love, if you know a little bit what the director did, and you are emotional, I mean, you have something, it's much better than to go to a party and to be drunk. It's like
Yeah.
so, yeah. So
Agreed.
Yeah, that's
Agreed.
really nice point.
Yeah.
the Nordic films, of course, try to go to the Nordic because you have a connection, but if not, no. I mean,
I think that's right. I think it's, in a way, I don't want to go to a party where I haven't been invited.
No.
Yeah, but I think everybody's given good tips of sort of like don't just send this blind email of like, here's 10 people, tell us where your party is and put us on the list. No, it's like, find out what party you might want to go to, maybe for strategic reasons, or you think it'll be great fun, and then find out somebody who's on the list, who was the RSVP email they had, and, work a little magic, do a little bit of homework. Don't just, but I do feel sorry when people just turn up at the gates of all those beach clubs.
Yeah. And
I think it's
believe
really
they can
hard to
come
just
in.
stand in a
It's very sad.
queue.
Yeah.
No, try to do some homework in advance. And also, like I said, you might have a blast at the Croatian happy hour. And I don't know why I'm picking on Croatia. There's some lovely Croatian filmmakers.
But it's positive. It's a positive picking up.
Yeah, you might just go by their stand. Oh, we're having a drink tonight. Great. You might meet some really interesting people. Be open-minded about who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, Cannes is also about films, as we've mentioned. Can you tell me, I mean, as we're recording this, it's a few weeks before Cannes. We don't even have all the lineups confirmed, but tell me one film for each of you that you are really looking forward to see, and it could be for professional reasons, or it could just be for personal reasons, like you really like this filmmaker. So, Claire, do you have a film you can't wait to see?
Well, I have to say, first and foremost, the competition looks great.
Yes.
And I am really pumped for so many of the films. I'm super, super excited. But there's one director who's got a film in out of competition that personally I'm very curious to see. Agnes Jaoui has a film out of competition, which is called The Object of Delight, or Crescendo, I think, which I was such a fan of Look at Me and The Taste of Others, which was in the early noughties, those two films. I just absolutely loved them. The films she made after that, I didn't get on with so well. But I just think when she gets it right, she really gets it right. And Look at Me and The Taste of Things were films that are in my top favourite films.
Okay.
So I'm really, really excited to see that, as well as what looks to me like an amazing competition.
Susan, what are you hoping that you can see in that second week?
I'm hoping for Fjord.
Yeah.
Then I'm hoping for the corrida, the sheep in the box, because I mean it can be this kind of quirky, entertaining, and still with like a good, good serious matter as well. I don't know, because I didn't read that much, only saw his name. And then Pawlikowski, the director of Ida, Fatherland, about Thomas Mann. It's going to be interesting how that's going
Sandra Huller, who's one of the best actresses working
I mean,
today.
she is amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that would be for me.
Yes. And Frederic, I know you're a good cinephile. You want to see
No,
all the films.
of
But
course, I want
what's
to see,
something?
but I'm really excited by people who they have their debut, like
Yes, people we don't know yet.
Yeah.
the two Spanish, they did Las Mesias. It was a really good It's called the Tour Javier. It's called Los Ravis, La Bola Negra.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
In competition is really exciting because I know what they did. And of course, Bertrand Mandico, Roma Elastica, out of competition. I really like what he's doing. And there is a film because I know nothing about the film except I saw some drawing and I heard about it. It's called Le Corset. It's an animation film in Un Certain Regard. So when you are
Okay.
stressed, you have meetings, you go to Debussy and you are watching, like Flow, you remember the Flow, the animation film. I really like to see animation film. And I'm always going sometime, if I have time, to Cannes Classic.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
do enjoy
Nice.
Yes.
new print. It's totally different, much more relaxed. So if I can do one or two Cannes Classic, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Good tip.
Good
Yes.
tip. Or
Good
cinema
tip.
on the
Um,
beach as well. I
Yes.
mean, that can be
Yeah.
a lovely way to spend an evening. You know,
Yeah.
But
it's
the Cannes
right there.
Classics, I
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
with you. You're
Yeah.
seeing something very special there.
Some amazing tips. Thank you all for joining us because I think people have learned a lot about how you do Cannes, how they can do Cannes a little bit better, who not to ask for a meeting, how to crash a party. I mean, where do you get this wealth of a goldmine of information? And you've helped me remember I was once young and enjoyed parties, and I will go to one or two parties. I promise. I
Yes.
promise our listeners I'll see you at one or two parties. And
Yeah.
young people, go to as many parties as you want and have fun.
Have fun.
And
Be
stay up at the Petit
open-minded.
Majestic and
Yeah.
Just
Meet
go
new
for it.
people. Yeah,
Yes.
see a film you don't know anything about. Meet new people. That's what Cannes is all about.
Yes.
And I really want to thank all of our amazing guests, and I wish you a good Cannes. Bonne
Likewise.
projection.
Me too.
See you
Merci.
there.
See
All
you
of you.
there.
See you, Betty.
Yeah.
What fun to talk to some real Cannes veterans there. They know how to do Cannes. Hope you all learned some tips and tricks, and that gets you excited for all of your Cannes meetings and Cannes screenings. Thanks, as always, for tuning into the Screen Podcast, and thanks to the whole team Screen who puts this together. Our producer, Ellie Calnan, our web editor, Orlando Parfit. And please do like us, subscribe, comment on our episodes. It really helps us, and we'll see you again next Thursday. Thanks for listening.